Hey, y'all. It's your legal bestie, attorney Simone, and we are here with another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? This is the topic that you all have been asking about. Y'all have wanted your Christian Gold, fake gold, fool's gold, Jennifer Williams update, and you have it today. So I actually wanted to take my time in giving this update because I wanted to be able to update you on the civil cases that he's dealing with. And I wanted to make sure that it was okay with the attorneys that are representing those victims, as well as waiting till there was a place where there was progress, right? So thank you guys for joining us. Let us know as you come on in where you're joining from. So first, I'm going to give you guys an update where I'm going to update you on both the civil case and Christian Gold's child support case. We're going to do that first. That'll probably take about the first 15, 20 minutes. And then I have the victims. Some of the victims wanted to call in. They wanted to give an update on what's going on with their respective cases. Now, don't forget, you can always go to my website, SimoneRedwine.com. If you want to book a consultation with me or sign up for my law school coaching program. I coach grown folks that want to go back to law school. And in addition, with this episode, because I want to make sure that nobody else gets scammed, there's a link below for Motley Fool. Motley Fool is what I use to make my stock picks, to grow my portfolio. I grew my portfolio over time, not overnight, from $12,000 to $100,000 and some change. And I use picks for Motley Fool. So that link is below. If you use that link, you can get $100 off for an entire year of stock picks. They are the ones who told me to buy Amazon. It was at $270. It was $270. This was back in 2014, prior to the stock split. And if the stock had not split, it would now be the equivalent of like $4,000 a share. Anyway, they're amazing. Check that out down below. Now, child, where do we start? All right. So first, let's start with an update on the Christian Gold child support scenario. So he went live. He was upset because his child's mother has finally spoken out. She was been anonymous. I'll actually create a Christian Gold playlist. Give me today. I'll create a Christian Gold playlist. And Jennifer Williams. It's got the different stories that I've done on them. And remember, this all started simply because last summer, Christian went on television, lied through his teeth, and claimed that he needed Jennifer to help him with his $250,000 restitution so that she could have her dream Paris wedding, when in fact, the restitution was only $12,500, but he still couldn't afford that. So it just started with me bringing about like, hey, here's how restitution works. it's not this much. It's actually a much lower amount. I put the docs on the screen and it kind of flew from there. From there, I unveiled that I was curious, like, how are you making this money where you allegedly have like $1 million watches and stuff? Well, I unveiled that he was running an unlawful trading company. The reason it's unlawful is if you are going to trade for other people for money, you have to have a license. It's not rocket science, right, guys? Like you have to have a license for many jobs in America. Hell, you can't be a plumber without a license in most states. You cannot unclog boo boo doo doo caca tt pee pee out of a toilet without a license. So it should be no surprise that if you are investing money for over 200 people, you need a license. So throughout the show on Basketball Wives and so forth, he and Jennifer talk about like, oh, they're talking about people shouldn't invest with me because I'm a felon. Sir, the issue is because you're a felon, you're unlicensed. And no, people should not, and they're correct, people should not invest with anybody who's unlicensed. But the thing is, he never told his alleged victims or anyone that invested with him at that point that he was unlicensed. And therefore, it is actually against the law. Like what he's doing is trading securities. So that's why you need a license. That's step one. Hold on. Of the saga. Hold on. What just happened here? Hold on. Get this back up. All right. So let's just start with the easy part. We're going to start with the child support part. So with the child support, he went on his live and gave his side of the story. I'm going to play a clip for you of that. Where do we go? Oh, it should be this one. Okay. Let's hear a little clip of him giving his side of the story. That is true. That is true. Oh, hold on. Let me put that on. Give me 1 second.
Money more than once.
I'm going to roll that back. Y'all know I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to just play a snippet and then we're going to address it.
Somebody said Auntie Snag. Yes, she did. She sent over a letter, got it notarized, and she said that she didn't want to take it to court. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I and my uncle sitting behind me because he's been through this and he's been to.
Hold on. And that is true. His child's mother there was an agreed letter. The two of them got together and agreed on what they both believed was a reasonable amount for the two children. Hand wrote it, or however they wrote it up, typed it up, whatever, and signed it. He was then paying her child support pursuant to that. He is correct. I'm going to let him continue.
My court dates, right? I am in a position, and I've been in a position where I want to go to court and I want to be put on child support so we can stop with the back and forth. Because 1 week you're happy for me and my marriage. The next week I'm a deadbeat dad. The following week, congratulations on your engagement. Congratulations on your marriage.
That like as you come
and
in.
Then now
and hit that
you
subscribe.
Have let a certain individual or individuals get in your ear, and now you want to take to social media saying that you've never received child support. Now, let me make this clear. I don't have a child support order. I'm waiting on a child support order. There's a difference. Number two, I have sent my children's mother money more than once on multiple occasions.
It was 2 or 3 times. That is true.
If you ask me, she's gotten well over the amount that I've seen on my Instagram live. I saw mothers in there with 3 kids that were getting $500 a month.
Y'all, he's proud that at some point he gave more than $500 a month. I'm sorry, sir. You tout that you drive a Rolls Royce. Me personally, I don't think that your car note should be more than your child support. I think they should be, something around the same as opposed to your car. According to him, his car note is like $6,000 a month. He's definitely not paying anything near that in support. I'm gonna let him finish, and then we're gonna.
Which is actually absolutely insane. But the amount she was getting was well over some of the comments I was seeing, and we're talking about two babies that are not in school. She's a stay-at-home mom.
Not by choice. See, what happens is when you can't afford daycare, you got to stay home. We'll do a few more seconds.
She watches over them 24 hours a day. This is just what.
Prior to this, okay, let's just get into it. Prior to this, she had her own business. Prior to this, she had her own business. She was making 6 figures at one point through sales, blah, 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 blah. Here's the point. These children are on welfare. These children are on welfare. What he said, which was true, is, and that is the issue today, is that you're on Basketball Wives touting how successful you guys are, how great you are at investing. So why are your kids on government services? And I'm going to show you the proof. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you the proof. Yes, he said he spends that's right. He said he spends $1,500 on lunch. Clock that, T. I don't know if the child's mom is watching it, but make sure you get that little clip of him saying $1,500 on lunch. So when you go back to court and you're asking for whatever reasonable amount, then you can do that. Now, previously, so what he's saying is correct. They got together, wrote up an agreement, and he was paying pursuant to that agreement. He paid, but that was only for 2 or 3 months, and he stopped paying last summer. That is why she had to then try to go to court and file paperwork for child support. I think there are multiple mamas in this chat who can acknowledge it or can relate to be in a situation where you tried to work it out outside of court with your child's father, and maybe they started off paying and then they stopped. In his situation, what he stated was that he wasn't going to be able to give her any more support because something happened with the markets and his investing, and he lost funds. Now, that correlated with what he also told his victims at that time. He told the victims, sorry, guys, I lost all of your money. Yeah, he said, He said, sorry, guys, I lost all of your money. So the issue is this. You don't get to, he's not telling the truth. You don't get to tell half truths. So you get to say the part like, oh, we had our own agreement and I was paying and then she went to court on me. That's not true. She went to court because you stopped paying. Y'all, here's the real tea. I could show you better than I could tell you. Let me put it on the screen bigger. You don't need to see my big face. You need to see this big old document. I can show you better than I can tell you. Look at this. Okay. When you look at the top here, it says Georgia Department of Human Services. Do we all see that? Do we see that? Georgia Department of Human Services. She does not, the mother does not have her own attorney. In fact, you look on here, the mama's name is nowhere on here. What I blacked out there in black is the children. So what you said it, LP Knight said it right. What happens is when your kids are on welfare, welfare comes after the father to make him pay the child support. So me and you and other taxpayers don't. Let me know in the chat. Do you feel like that's reasonable? Do you feel like that's reasonable? Why should we, the taxpayers, actually it's the taxpayers of Georgia, why should the taxpayers of Georgia have to support your children while you ride around town in a Rolls Royce? I'm confused. Welfare took him to court, not her. But I want to be clear. I want to say this clearly. There's nothing wrong with a mom taking a dad to court if a dad stops paying pursuant to their agreement. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, where's my gavel? Here goes my gavel. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is you living the high life, running around town with your kids on welfare. Someone says, can the BM sue Jen as well? Nope. No, there's no state in America where you can get child support based on the mom's income. But one thing that can happen is if Jennifer and him file joint taxes, Jennifer's tax return could be seized to satisfy his outstanding child support obligations if he has them. But currently, what went on for a long time as well is he was dodging service. He was not accepting service. So it took a long time. So here we are. That all started last August. It's almost been a year and there's still not been a dime. He's still on government services. Yep, taking pictures next to Jen's Rolls Royce. One of Jennifer's houses can pay child support for a year. Right. And more importantly, I want you guys to understand what this document is saying. Specifically, he has not provided the court the information they need to even set the child support. In other words, he's hiding his finances. Do you hear me? This man is hiding his finances, including they had to reset a hearing because he attended and didn't have his stuff, did not have his finances. Now, he also says, well, the mom didn't provide hers. Hey, listen, Goof Troop. She had to have provided hers. That's how she got the welfare. In what state do they let you get welfare without putting down your financial information? The state has what they need to do her side. They're waiting on his, including, now I'm going to go through, these are the documents he has not provided. I'm going to read them off for you. All documents showing income received by you as a result of any and all endorsements, partnerships, investments, royalties, fringe benefits from January 1st of 2024 to the date of production. Now, mind you, the mom is being nice because she could get child support from the day of birth if she wanted to, but she's being reasonable with the time frame. And to let you know what sparked this, some people are like, well, why is the child's mother speaking now? The reason she's speaking now is because she was recently, they had this hearing where he dodged paying support. So she's frustrated that every time she thinks she's making progress, every time she thinks, okay, finally the court is going to order him to help me with these kids, he finds a way to wiggle out of it. And this most recent time, which was less than a month ago, this most recent time was when he shows up to court without any of his proof of income. See, men do that frequently. I won't just say men. The non-custodial parent will frequently undersupply their information in an attempt to get the court to set the child support lower. And it's not right. But so for those who are saying, why is she talking now? She's talking now because something recently happened. But also, she spoke last summer under anonymity. As in, like, she didn't give her name and didn't show her face, but she came on the channel. But specifically what happened is there was a recent court hearing where she was like, I've had it. I got to see your face on my TV regularly flaunting all of your money and all that you do and all that you are. Yet and still, you won't just go to court and give them the information so we can move the hell on. So he hasn't provided the docs at number one. He hasn't provided his business and checking account records, including monthly statements, canceled checks. He hasn't provided all of his 1099s. He hasn't provided credit card statements. He hasn't and mind you, these are things the state of Georgia are asking for. She can't even afford a lawyer. She don't even have a lawyer. All partnership information, any and all monthly, quarterly cash flow summaries, copies of all personal and financial net worth statements, any and all contracts for work where you are an independent contractor. So in other words, he specifically, Christian has not turned over, that says there, he didn't turn over his basketball wives contract, and he hasn't turned over his YouTube money. You know what else he hasn't turned over? His Cash Apps and his Zells. And that is how he's been collecting the money for the air quote investments. Now, the government now requires Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, all of those to report to the government, the IRS, if you received over $600 worth of Cash Apps, Venmos, or whatever. I can't wait to see that number. That man is going to cry when they get that. And remember, if you're ever in this situation, you want to also demand it's inclusive of this, but you need to specifically demand the other party's IRS wage and income transcript. It is not a tax return. The wage and income transcript is the most powerful one if you're ever trying to set child support. That's because that is the only document that shows what everybody else claims they paid you. It's going to list, if they've been an independent contractor, it's going to list every single person that has ever paid them in that year. It's going to list the aggregate of all Cash App money, the aggregate of all Zells, the aggregate of all of that. All of it. Somebody says, I don't know why they can't just subpoena that. So what'll happen is they'll do that after, or if they think he's lying, then they will, but it just takes a lot of time. And all of those months, judges can do it either ways. Sometimes judges will set it at something, and sometimes judges will literally put the work on the mom and say, well, if you want me to set it higher than the minimum, you got to show me that he makes more. What? And reward the fraudster? Absolutely not. In other words, it should be that if someone doesn't provide all their documentation, you set it at the highest possible amount to incentivize them to provide the necessary document to decrease it. Correct. Leave no stone unturned. I don't think real rich fathers would move like this. Something isn't adding up. Yeah, let's keep that in mind. It's not adding up. So let's go on. So this is kind of the summary. This is the summary of what was going on in the child support. The gist of it, why anybody, if you care, might want to care. The mom's frustrated. She wants to get off welfare. He's got more than enough to contribute in a meaningful way so that she can move on, go to work, be able to afford daycare or a sitter. These kids are 4 and 3. Don't nobody want to be up there with them kids all day. I mean, you might, but I wouldn't. I mean, they're wonderful kids, but still, you get my drift. So, all right. So next up, let's do the update on the fraud case. All right. Let me pull this down. So the fraud case is a civil case that was brought by a number of his victims. And now there are 2 separate cases. So the first case was about an aggregate, people were allegedly defrauded out of approximately $125,000. The second case is another $100,000. So now he has victims across the board alleging approximately $215,000 worth of money that he fraudulently obtained. And just to reiterate the allegations, they're fraud, constructive fraud, because remember, he lied about being licensed, he lied about being able to trade, and most importantly, he lied about what was happening with the funds. So one of the allegations is what he was doing with the money is he would so-called invest. We don't know exactly what he was doing with the money, and that's part of the problem, right? But what he was providing, okay. I saw that out there. Okay. What he was providing was screenshots of trades that he was making. Well, that's cool. But how do I know that's a trade you made for me? How do I know that I'm included in that my investment is included in the sum that was in this whatever particular trade? Also, like a legitimate investor is not going to send you screenshots of anything. You're going to have through my trading apps and so forth, every day I get an automated email that says the status of my portfolio. And then he was also charged with RICO, Georgia RICO, the civil type, basically mail fraud, wire fraud. And that is and that's how it falls under RICO here, because he's used Zelle, Cash App, and so forth to defraud allegedly these victims. Now, peep this. Peep this, y'all. This man that went on national TV and has now officially admitted he broke the law. Watch this.
There's a cousin of Carl that sent you $1,500. So I pulled up the actual text conversation.
Oh, wow.
She gets started in July of last year. I have my fee, right? I don't trade for free.
That's right.
Right? And I'm like, listen, we can get started with $1,500. That's fine. That's my fee, though. But aside from that, you have to fund your trade account.
That's right.
Boom. Illegal, 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 illegal. Y'all, so that is what's called an illegal advanced fee. It is 100% illegal. You cannot charge an advanced fee on trades. So what he charges is either $1,500 or $2,500. He calls it a lifetime trading fee. So for life, you just pay him that flat rate $1,500, and for life, he's going to make trades for you. That's literally illegal under the SEC guidelines, under all guidelines. Here's why. It's because it is the basis of most financial frauds with respect to investments. Because he makes that $1,500 whether he invests your money or not. That's not how it's supposed to work. Instead, they're allowed to get a commission. They can get a commission, they can get a percentage, because that incentivizes them to grow your portfolio. They only make money if they make you money, as opposed to advance fees. Advance fees, they get paid regardless. What is his incentive to grow your money? Literally nothing. Literally nothing. It's why advance fees are illegal, because people, so-called investors, use that to defraud people. So what was going on? Let me get that gap. Advance fees. That's my school, Cornell. Yes, it is illegal. They will take you down. Think about it. Yes, if you give someone a flat rate and for life, they're supposed to invest your money for you for a flat rate $1,500. What's their incentive to grow it? They got their money. And like he said, $1,500 ain't nothing but lunch for him. So he has every incentive to go buy him some lunch and not do ish for you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why advance fees are illegal. But we're gonna I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna roll it back. Come on, let me let him tell on himself a little bit more. Let him tell us a little bit more. Yes. Oh, yeah, he did. He also says he wipes his bottom with $1,500. But you know what he doesn't do with $1,500? Pay child support. He don't pay child support enough $1,500. Because if he did, those children would not be on welfare, and the state of Georgia Family and Human Services would not be coming after him for child support so that the children could get off. Also, to clarify, I just did the segment where I broke down that basically the state of Georgia is coming after him for child support because the kids are on welfare. Once he starts paying the child support, the kids get to get off of welfare. So that's the incentive to the state. All right. So here we go. Yeah, 1,000 watching, y'all. Hit that like. We need to hit that like. So y'all need to come on. Y'all need to see this. We gonna play it again.
She never funded it. So I wanna show you this. This is the client.
Okay.
Wait a minute. We're gonna roll it back. Hold on. You heard him say he charges $1,500 and then she never funded her account. Multiple victims articulated that they did not realize that $1,500 was just for him. And so there were some victims where all they really had was like $1,600, $1,700. So they literally ended up paying him $1,500 and then he only invested $200 because he wouldn't refund their advance fee.
Well, you didn't do nothing wrong. You got to defend yourself.
For sure. You know, she was saying that there's a cousin of Carl that sent you $1,500. So I pulled up the actual text conversation.
Oh, wow.
She gets started in July of last year. I have my fee, right? I don't trade for free.
That's right.
Right? And I'm like, listen, we can get started with $1,500. That's fine. That's my fee, though. But aside from that, you have to fund your trade account.
That's right.
She never funded it. So I wanna show you this. This is the client.
Okay. Great morning, Kiki. Don't forget to call me this week so we can get your account going.
Following up.
Okay, will do. And that was on.
So he's confirming he took her $1,500 and put it in his pocket. When he says get it up, he means put some in there for me to go invest for you. Just as illegal as he wanted to be.
This lady is saying you owe her $1,500, and everyone wants to go on, oh, it's all these victims and blah. And I'm like, first of all,
That word victim is crazy to me in this situation. Honestly, taking $1,500 for someone, the lifestyle that we live, that is a dinner. I would never risk my reputation and my integrity and my character for $1,500.
she had the nerve to say, well, felons shouldn't be allowed to trade.
Then felons shouldn't be presidents. Anyone.
So I love that. It's not that felons shouldn't be allowed to trade. It's that you're not licensed. So I can't trade. I can't trade for other people because I'm not licensed. Now, you're welcome to apply for a license, and you could get a license if you Felons would have to apply, and then you'd have to provide an addendum. You'd have to say how your life's changed, how you're a good person, whatever. And you have to get licensed and insured. The other problem is that, I referenced the fact that he was a felon because that's how I knew he was not licensed. And then, of course, I went to the licensing entity and I said that Jess says Jen tried to compare her husband being a felon to Evelyn's daughter having a baby by the game. It's the only reason Jennifer's felony is relevant for her son is because it goes to him being unlicensed and lying about it. He did not tell these people. Some people invested $100,000 with this man. They would not have done that if they knew that not only was he unlicensed, but that he could not be licensed. Secondly, there's some bloggers out there, because I had also said, never invest with someone who's not licensed. And you also want to make sure that they're insured and bonded, insured. And there's some blogger out there who's like, you can't get insurance for investments. Listen, stupid. Hold on. Let me make sure you can see. Listen, stupid. It frustrates me when people don't know what they're talking about. I like talk. You can get insurance related to making investments. Hello, that's what Edward Jones or Merrill Lynch, everyone that Wells Fargo, everyone that's ever touched my money does that. The insurance doesn't cover for losses, ding dong dummy. But what it does cover is things like this. If someone commits fraud with your money, it could be considered an error or omission. If it's an error or omission, there's errors and omissions insurance. And basically that would be something like, let's say you wanted them to invest $10,000 into Coca-Cola, but they put in the wrong stock ticker and they bought something else instead of Coca-Cola. By the time you figured it out, you lost a huge investment. Insurance would kick in. Or like here, you give your money and that person that claimed that they were going to invest it in such and such doesn't do it. This would have protected that person so that they could file a claim with the insurance company for the errors and omission. They'd get their check. That's why that matters. The other thing is, I wanted to play this clip because he says that term victim is funny to me. I'm going to play it.
Lifestyle that we live, that is a dinner. I would never risk my reputation and my integrity and my character for $1,500.
She had the nerve to say, well, felons shouldn't be allowed to trade.
Then felons shouldn't be presidents. Anyone could invest their money in the stock market. You don't have to fill out an application.
Right, girl, you are in everybody's business and don't mind your own.
There you go. So the other thing that I wanted to mention with that, let's be very clear with the victims. So Jennifer's understanding is like, oh, all investments have risks. And this was just a bunch of people who lost money on their investment. That is true. They all do have risks. Everyone, with the tariffs and all that, our portfolios went up and they went down. The issue here is he has provided no proof he ever made the investments in the first place. He has provided each of the alleged victims that has found nothing. There's proof they gave him money. No proof. So you do not get to sit up there and say, oh, you're not entitled to anything back because there's always a risk, when you can't prove you made the investment in the first place. Hello, that's ridiculous, because the risk is in the market. But if you never put my money in the market, run me my money. Run me my money. You have committed a crime. Stupid. Let me play you this. I want you to see this clip. This is how old boy operated. And those in the background, I see you guys there. And yeah, I see you guys in the back. I'm going to go to you just shortly. But I want to set this up. I'm going to play for you a clip. This is how. Okay, let me put this down. This is how he ran the play. So what this is I'm going to play you a clip. What he would do, this is how he would get the investors. This is an actual Zoom call that this man did September of 2023. This is how he would recruit his investors. I want you to hear it. And I want you to tell me in the chat what you think. This is what he's promising people. And here's the thing. If you promise people a return, you got to give it to them. It does not matter whether you have it. You better mortgage Jennifer's house. You better sell her ring. You better sell her car. So I want to make clear under the law, if you tell these people, I'm going to give you a 15% return, like let's say I'm going to give you a 5% return every month, right? Then what is it? 5 times 12, what's that? 60% return in a year. If they give you their money, you got to give them that. Otherwise, it's breach of contract. You don't get to later be like, well, that was a crazy amount that I said. Nobody should have believed me. Hell to the no. You don't get to do that. You made the contract, oral and or in writing. This is how you recruited people. So you either need to run them their money or go to jail, is what I think. Currently, he's being investigated federally, but he is not, to be clear, he is not facing any criminal charges at the moment. And I want to reiterate, Christian Gold says he's innocent, that he's committed no offenses, and that this was simply a matter of the stock market fluctuation. Here's a clip of him recruiting, and this is what he told his victims to get them to hand over their retirements, etc.
The reason why you missed the call a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, and our executive ambassador / assistant, Cam, got on the actual call and pretty much broke down the significance of 1%, 2%, and 3%. Even on the bottom end, if we do 3%, we're going from $100,000 starting account balance to 1.7 million. But just with 1%.
Y'all just heard that? This man is telling people that if they, as a group, right, you pull your money in, they put in 100,000, they're going to have 1.7 in the next year. Let's keep going.
Percent increase in 2%. We're going from $100,000 to 17.3 million. Do I know that it can be done? Yes, because I showed you guys a perspective of me growing a $12,000 account to a little over 700,000 in 7 months. All right.
Y'all. And here's the thing. If you do that, that's great, but then you need to give people their investments back. What it sounds like, so there were multiple victims stated that pursuant to their agreements, they were supposed to get returns on specific dates. What he would do is he wouldn't pay out on those dates. He kept holding their money. So for example, some people were supposed to be paid out in January. He didn't pay in January, and then August rolls around and he's like, yeah, the market really tanked. I don't care what the market did in August. You were supposed to have my money in January. Here we go. Let's continue.
So with the $100,000 starting account balance, even if I'm not leveraging a crazy amount in our lots, we're talking about at 3%, we can be from 100,000 to 225 million.
There we go. Y'all heard that? This man done told these people. He has told these people that they could go from 100,000 to 225 million. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but the point is, I would rather spend $1,200 on a lottery ticket than with Christian, Miss AKA says. Hopefully she's watching, and if not, send it to her so she can give that to the judge while you're in the China skimp on the baby's child. Oh, while you're in China skimping on the baby's child support. Yeah, it does sound too good to be true. I hear you, Sabrina. But the point is, I just want y'all to be clear. This is why it is a crime. This and or fraud. This is why this is not the same. You cannot make these promises to people that you know from the beginning you can't deliver, because in this instance, he is the professional. He's telling you, I am the Lord Savior investor. The Lord investor is what he calls himself. Okay, so if you're the expert, you don't get to take people's, because remember, he's making people give him a flat rate $1,500, whether he makes you money or not. He is walking away with his $1,500. And then for these people, he's giving them no proof of the investment. It's embarrassing, sad that Jen is going out this bad. I'm understanding Jennifer when she says these people weren't victims. They were, well, it's still a scam. Hold on. I hear you. Melody is saying, I'm understanding Jennifer when she says these people weren't victims. Those numbers are too crazy to believe. So scammers are just allowed to scam. That's not how it works in America. Like, for example, if you go to a store and they say, hey, I'm going to sell you this amazing television that does all these things and you pay money for it. And it's stuff, and they're like, there's no way a TV can do it. And it's going to walk and talk and whatever, you pay money for it. They need to give you your money back at a minimum. Here, the victims are simply, they're being generous. They're asking for their money back. I'd be asking for the returns that I should have had as of the date, based on what the numbers were. But yeah, I disagree. I don't think that people should be able to boldface lie and take advantage of other people and then be like, shouldn't have to do anything, shouldn't. Oh, well, I get to keep your money because you're stupider than me. There's a lot of people stupider than me, but I don't think that warrants taking advantage of them. But I may have misunderstood what you meant by that. It's going to backfire. What is it? I agree. She should work. I also understand. All right. Would the reasonable person have agreed? So you're saying it like the reasonable person standard is applicable here. That's not even a thing. That's not a thing in this situation. Fraud is fraud. So that's why it's called fraud. Mm-hmm. That's why it's called fraud, because what fraudsters do is they find innocent victims who are desperate, who are in need, who are all of these things. But also you have to understand, he allegedly created fake documents and fake or fake results, showed it to people, and then sold them in the hope that he's done it before and he can do it for you again. So at this point, I want to go ahead and bring up some of the alleged victims. All of these are allegations, and I want to give them an opportunity to give us an update. First up, we've got Alteria. Alteria is really about it because actually at the beginning of this video, he references Alteria and her husband and uses them to recruit a bunch of other people in and allegedly steal from them. We've also got Kiki. Kiki, are you the same Kiki referenced on the episode? Okay, this is Kiki from the episode.
Carl cousin.
You are Carl's cousin. Okay. And I do have the clip. I do have a longer part of the clip where they get into your text message or what have you, and I'll give you a chance to speak on that. Okay. I got Thomas, also Nene, and hold on. There's someone else. Hold on, let me see if I'm going to make sure you want to come up. All right. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Natalia, are you sure she wants to come up? I wanted to make sure she wants to come up and not just watch from backstage.
She said she can speak briefly.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we should have her.
I'm going to start with her. Yeah, Natalia, are you ready? I'm going to pull the rest of you guys down and give Natalia just a chance if you wanted to speak. I'm going to give you a chance. All right. She might be off to the side, but whenever she's ready, I'll let her hop in. Sorry. Here we go. I totally read that wrong. When you gave me that message earlier, Alteria, that Natalia was there, I was thinking you. My bad. All right, so Alteria, I'll give you the floor first. So Alteria really coordinated to turn this into a civil lawsuit. She was unwilling to just walk away from it. And here's the thing about how these types of frauds work is they prey on people who couldn't afford to exercise their rights to get justice, right? They pay on people who invest smaller amounts because obviously if you're investing like $5,000, $7,000, you're likely not going to have enough money to do a $5,000 or $10,000 retainer. And so a lot of times they get away with it. But Alteria, I want to give you your props because what Alteria did is she coordinated a bunch of the victims together, found them a lawyer, and they worked together to use that lawyer to then file this lawsuit. And here's the thing. Now there's 2 lawsuits and Mr. Gold hasn't even replied, which doesn't surprise me. He's probably still out shopping for a lawyer because, we're going to put this on the screen. Let's not forget that he owes lawyers around town. It looks like his lawyer here for his criminal case filed a motion to withdraw from his case because he didn't pay the man. He don't like paying nobody. He didn't pay his own lawyer. It says in paragraph 3 at the bottom, given the defendant's refusal to meet the agreed upon payment terms, and in light of the breakdown in the attorney-client relationship, it is no longer feasible or ethical for counsel to continue representing him. Let me say it again. Given the defendant's refusal to meet the agreed upon payment terms, it is no longer feasible or ethical for counsel to continue representing him. So, and that was for his freedom. That was for, so how you got money for everything TV, nothing real life. The lawyer that's keeping your behind out of jail, the lawyer that got you only the 15 days because it could have been way worse, you didn't even pay him. You couldn't stick to that payment plan. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yes, correct. All right. So going back to speak about the investments, being Dr. Beebe says talking about Christian needs proof he made the initial investment. Well, that's part of it. Yes. And have you guys ever seen, what type of proof did you guys see of the initial investment ever actually being made? Nothing?
Nothing.
No.
I didn't think so either. I hadn't seen it.
No. Mm-mm.
No. It was, and then you were supposed to be lumped into pools, correct? With other investors. And certain trades were being made. And so he would send you guys screenshots of trades that were allegedly made, correct?
In the beginning, he sent those, and that maybe lasted a month, but after that it was literally like a written list, like he typed it out on his phone.
Oh gosh. Did y'all start getting scared? That would frighten me.
Oh, that's why I started pulling him on Zoom and started doing what I started doing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Sorry, guys. I'm not well, so I need to eat some crackers. So, Alteria, what's the update that you've got on the
So first, I've been watching the comments from my phone, and a lot of you guys are talking about, the Tasha K interview. So yes, I am the one that everybody's seen on Tasha K. I did go. This was last year again, so a lot of you guys are just hearing about this, but this has been going on for a year. Before I went on Tasha K, I spoke with Simone. Simone is literally the person that broke the news on all of this. And so to address a couple of the questions, some of you guys are saying, well, what person in their right mind is going to give this man that money based on his Zoom call? So what you guys need to understand is when Simone first broke this, the reason why I have had my foot on Christian's neck, and Auntie, if you're watching, don't talk about my husband and I's relationship again, because I don't need my foot on his neck. Okay. So the reason
also, I have to say, when people start making personal attacks, it's because they can't stand on receipts. They can't stand on the facts. Because what she's not addressing is the fact that her nephew's kids are on welfare. Are on welfare. Like, you want to talk about everything else but your nieces and nephews being on welfare, and yet y'all are supposed to be so successful. Continue.
Yes. So, he used me as a pawn to scam a lot of people that gave him money. So I was one of the first people that gave Christian money, and I started giving Christian money back in 2022. Okay. So my husband and I gave him $4,000. And at this time, and everybody that is a victim on the panel right now can also attest to this. At the time, the system that Christian was using, us victims were able to fund our own accounts. He could go in as a trader and make the trades, but he could not take the money out. He could not put the money in. This was a system that he was on. So at the time, we put in $4,000. Within a week or two, he turned it into $12,000.
That's right.
We were able to pull it out. We went to Vegas. We had fun. Me and my husband, we did our thing. So he, on that Zoom that Simone had played you guys, he had decided to pull me up on Zoom, caught me completely off guard, and said, "Hey, Altera, how much money did I make you and your husband?" I told everybody the truth because that is the truth. He did that. However, after he pulled me up, about not even a couple weeks later, he held another Zoom where, "Hey guys, that system I'm using no longer works. Now we're going to use a new system. You now have to send me money to fund these accounts, not fund your own account with your own money."
So basically, initially, you could see everything that was going on. There was transparency. You felt comfortable. But more than that, you actually had results. And here's the thing. That's how Ponzi schemes work. They work by using certain people as the examples and showing like, hey, look at the results I made for this person. That person being a real person with real results and telling everyone else, hey, guys, join. And then usually that's like the last time they get results. After that, did you see any of the rest of your investment
No,
grow?
no. I mean, we were told it grew, but we don't have any proof.
Correct.
And so I just want everybody to be clear that that's how he used and took money from people. He took that clip from,
Correct.
Zoom and said, "Hey, this is Altera." Now, because you used me to scam people, I made a promise last year that if you were going to use me to scam people, I was going to use myself to take your ass down.
Whoop. Whoop. There we go.
And that is where we're at now. So I just want to encourage anybody that's watching, because we have a ton of people that are still coming out.
Yeah.
Yes, it costs money to retain the attorney. Yes, I know it sucks giving this man all of your money, giving him your last, but it's the principle.
Yeah.
We can't, it sucks. I know, because I watch it every day. Every Monday, I watch this fool go on Basketball Wives and act like we are nothing and he owes us nothing. And he can just live this lavish life, and it's not cool. So I just want to encourage anybody that's out there, because I do know that he's still on Instagram. I know he's going in his stories. I know he's acting like he's trading. And what a lot of people don't understand, in the trading world, you can have something called a demo account.
Yes.
It looks just like a regular trading account. And it can look like you're taking trades. It can look like you're making money, but it's not actual real money. It's play money. So
yes, he's still scamming. Someone's asking, is he still scamming?
Yes, he is in Instagram.
But people are still giving him money. Don't call me. Do not call me. If you gave this man money this year, don't come over here.
Yes, absolutely. So he's still got people out there that he's recruiting. He's on there. He's recruiting. He's on Instagram. I've been watching him. And so I want to, warn you guys, don't give this man any money. You're not going to get it back. Number two, if you're out there and you're like, because again, he's going to do the same thing he did to us. He's going to tell you, oh, you're going to get your money in July. July is going to roll around. Oh, it's going to be September. September is going to roll around. Oh, next year.
And he's still not licensed. People in the chat are asking, no, he can't get a license because of his felony. And you can't get a license when you've already been illegally trading. If he applies now, they're going to be like, hell no, get the hell out of here. You can't do that.
Yes.
So, Thomas, I want to give you a chance to speak, because I don't think I've had you speak on my platform in quite a while.
Yeah.
And then Kiki, you as well. And I want to let you guys know, Natalia is the mother of his children. She's going to briefly speak as well. So y'all are going to get to hear directly from her. If you have any questions for her, put it in the chat. I'm going to ask the appropriate ones. But Thomas, give us an update. What's going on with you regarding this situation?
I want to thank everyone for being here. I appreciate everyone's patience, and and thanking God that we can wake up and continue to grip on our patience on this matter. The latest update on my end, I mean, I'm gonna just continue to keep doing what I'm doing and just kind of watch everything in the shadows from behind, because I'm much more of a material witness. I dated a best friend of Jennifer, and I got to know them on a personal level. I mean, I went to Jennifer's house. I know what her closet looks like, her
Is that
Beyonce
how
boots. I
you
know her car note.
grew to
That's how I
know
met
him?
Christian. Yeah, that's how I met Christian. We were eating at
Got it.
Nobu, and we went to
Hmm.
Johnny's Corner Pocket, and we all sat down, and one of Jennifer's best friends was talking about, how Christian made her like $10,000, and Christian, kind of piggyback some more on the conversation, and they start talking about Forex, and because I'm familiar with Forex and HFX, making money in minutes and stuff, and the numbers that they were talking about were kind of un- unheard, so but it seemed like it was very realistic coming from them and the circle that I was in, and I'm thinking that I can trust these people. And I end up trusting Christian one day after church, and you know my
Oh
car ended up
Lord.
breaking down, and I asked for my money back, and he was like, no, you're a big inconvenience, your money's in the pipeline.
Oh,
There's going to be a fee associated with it. And from
a
there,
fee
like, the
associated with
conversation,
what?
trying to get my money back, reverse
Oh,
it through
Refunding. Yes, he
the
told us that when we tried to get some of our money out, he told us the same thing, me and my husband, that there was going to be a fee for him to refund. Yes.
this
and from
is
there,
why advance fees are illegal. Because this is the type of crap these dudes pull, these scammers pull. They charge you a fee at first, and then they come up with these extra fees. This is unlawful. Someone's asking, what is taking so long? Well, I think people have the same kind of question with like Diddy. And the answer is the feds do very thorough investigations. And so I think, so part of the challenge is there are victims across multiple states. So for each of these victims, it's like, okay, do you pursue it in your state, Georgia, etc. But it does appear that behind the scenes, investigations are taking place. But when you're dealing with financial crimes, which allegedly this would be, they really they do their due diligence, they do forensic tracing. Oh, because also at this point, oh yeah, y'all need to see this, huh? I need y'all to see my face when I say that. At this point, forensic tracing of how the money has been flowing now leads you to Jennifer. He has now begun using an account with him and Jennifer that he uses to wire this money for this scheme.
he
So
had to.
Jennifer is no longer. Did any of you ever send to no, I know Alteria, I know you didn't send to the there's an account that's like CG and Jen or something like that.
That's the newest one.
Yep.
Because there are more victims who aren't a part of the lawsuit yet. They're the ones that have sent to Jen and CG.
Which means it's Jennifer's bank account, which means Jennifer is equally and severally liable. So she has brought her butt in there. And I believe it could very likely be because what happens is the types of flows of money that he was having, Cash App will shut that down. When you start getting a whole bunch of money from like weird different people, they'll shut it down, and then they may not let you reopen another one. So it wouldn't surprise me that he then opens up a joint account with Jennifer and is now using that. The problem is now, Jennifer, you can no longer play naive. You can no longer play. You have now consented. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit that subscribe. Let's see if we can get up to 55K. So Thomas, thank you. Kiki, they have been asking, they want to know, what were your thoughts on that segment? Let me go ahead and play that clip where I'm going to go towards the end of the clip where they were talking about you. All right. And then we want to hear from
July 24th, 2023. Then on October 9th, she said, hey, friend, I just saw a trailer for Basketball Wives. I don't do well with folks that talk bad about my friends. Wow, Christian.
Keep going. It gets interesting.
You may not fight women, but I do. This gonna piss me off. Oh, I tried to get clarity on the trading and never connected with like a refund.
Is she entitled to a refund? Most definitely.
Yeah.
But I wish she would have hit me up months ago about this.
All right. Kiki, what's the word, honey?
All of that is accurate. It's accurate. Everyone believed him. Everyone thought he was exactly who he said he was. But Christian loves to distract and deflect.
Yeah.
I gave you $1,500. When I realized that you were being accused of scamming, I requested my $1,500 back. I don't give a damn if I'm still texting you. You still owe the $1,500.
And he said it on the show.
Right. Now, I didn't get to the investment part because I had questions. You told me to go into my Cash App, go buy Bitcoin. I'm like, well, wait a minute, because you never mentioned on our phone call anything about Bitcoin.
That's how you know it's a scam. You think E-Trade was going to be like
something?
Uh-uh.
You know?
No.
Notice that he gets irritated, particularly when women stand up against him.
Ooh.
So now what he's doing, him and his hillbilly ass family, what they're doing, they're coming together. And they're so irritated. I was irritated too. I was like, Evelyn, say something. She said, I will eat my fingernails off before I respond to people that I don't know. And I had to learn that as well, because you're making this about people want to be on TV. You're making it about, oh, you should have, I wish you would have hit me up months ago. You breached it when you never told me you were a felon and you were doing this, that, and the other.
Okay, so you did not know either.
No.
Would that have impacted your decision to give him money?
Absolutely, because I would have wanted to know more. I don't have a problem with the felon. I'm on the way to the oyster leg. Soon as I get off of here, that's run by.
Okay, there we go.
I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with you lying to me about what you said you were going to do.
Understood. Now, I want to clarify this part regarding the text messages. I'm sorry, is because I'm getting these questions in the chat, and I don't know how much, we don't have too much more time, but so what it sounded like to me when I looked at the text messages in whole, it sounded like you were really believing in him. You were gung ho for him when you were like, I'll fight somebody for you. It sounded like you likely felt someone was lying on him.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
Vanessa was on the show. I know for a fact, because I am related to Carl, she doesn't know the whole story between Amy and Evelyn.
Who is Vanessa?
Vanessa is the lady that was on Basketball Wives season 11. Vanessa.
Okay.
Speaking of Vanessa Ryder.
Our Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa that was on my platform.
Right.
Got it.
I knew that wasn't accurate, and I knew that it was old. So I'm like, well, if she's lying about this or
okay,
a false perception about this, she must be doing the same thing to this young man as well.
Okay. So basically, these are old texts where you felt like you guys were friends. You were coming to bat for your friend. Yeah. Then you did, more time progressed. You started to see some of the shady stuff, and you were like, oh, wait a minute. I want my money back. Did he ever tell you he'd give you your money back?
Yes, I have. He sent, matter of fact, after that scene, he sent an email telling me that I was going to get my initial investment back before the end of 2024. He sent that on the 11th of December. I sent it back on the 13th of December. All of that is what I have on my email. It's still accurate, but he loves to deflect and only show pieces that support what he's saying.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Because it was just dumb. It didn't make any sense. Like when Jackie was like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, no, it sounds like she was ride or die and then ultimately realized she wanted to get off the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
people have a hard time too, Simone, with the timelines. So people have to understand what you're seeing every Monday.
Right.
Was recorded last year. I did my piece with Evelyn mid-November. So when they're talking about, well, you did this and you were that, timeline really matters. That really matters. So yes, are they married? They did eventually get married. You're going to see that on the show. But at the time when we were talking about this, she was not legally married. And you posted this on one of your podcasts before.
Yeah.
So that was accurate.
Yeah, they didn't get married till December. Actually, after the text message, it was like December 18th or something along those lines.
I'm going to chime in really quick because I can see like the comments are going crazy. A lot of people are talking about contracts. Guys, none of us ever got a contract from this man until after
Yep.
he lost the money. He tried to send us an
Correct.
amended
No,
contract.
it wasn't. Wait. It wasn't. Here's the thing. I need y'all to recognize this. He didn't lose. Look at me. Lose the money until after I ran my story. He didn't lose the money until I said this is a Ponzi scheme. He didn't lose the money until I said this is probably how they're affording their lifestyle. It's this. It's not the investing. It's the money. He did not lose the money until he got caught.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And if I can chime in real quick.
Go ahead. This is Nene, guys.
Yes, everybody.
Hold on a second. Before you say that, Nene, I also want to add, there was no contract before I did my story. And then he created a contract. He sent everybody a contract. And I had a copy of the contract. This Negro had the audacity to put at the very bottom of the contract, receipt of this contract is considered acceptance of the contract. That is not a thing. You sound stupid. He probably wrote that his goddamn self off ChatGPT. That's not a thing. You don't get to give me a contract and because I put it in my hands. I haven't read it. I haven't agreed, nothing. But the contract he did write, it literally addressed all the things I said he did, which was unlawful. He stated in there that he's not licensed. He stated that he wasn't insured or whatever. He stated that there's no guarantees. That was the first time these victims ever heard there was no guarantee and that he wasn't confident about his results. And then that is where he stated he had all these disclaimers that didn't exist before. And so victims were calling me and like, hey, what can I do? Like now I'm stuck with, I have to abide by this because I received it. No. Go ahead, Nene. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to be real quick. I wanted to reiterate and piggyback off of the whole situation with him losing, so-called allegedly losing our money. I actually have text messages where I literally asked him in June, should I be concerned about all of the joint accounts that were compounded? He literally said, no, they're fine. They're doing great. I have receipts upon receipts on top of receipts.
But he don't know.
So
he don't know you.
He can lie. He can try to twist it, fry it, dye it, lay it to the side. But you can't. You can't lie with the receipt. You can't lie against the receipt.
He said on
and that's all I need to say.
He does not know Nene, so
no, he don't know me, but he knew that $30,000 that I sent him.
That's right. Okay, Cynthia's asking, so I can understand. Is this Miss Cynthia from the wedding? So I can understand more. Can the guests finish their stories? No, not always. No, it's my show and the way my ADD is set up. Also, you have to understand, I talk to them in advance. So sometimes I have to set up the facts so that when they tell them to you, you're able to process them. Or sometimes I know that like certain facts have been omitted. So it's a little bit of both. Thank you for asking. Continue.
Oh, that was all I needed. I just wanted to reiterate that, he lied about losing the money. And I do have receipts since they're both real big on, I have receipts. Yes, let's have a ponderosa. Let's have a face-to-face confrontation and let's compare receipts. And that's something that I know they're not going to do.
Yeah,
the only thing that he has said about me was that he didn't know me. If you notice, we've been, all of us have had our foot on his neck. I mean, literally talking crap about him and Jennifer, tagging him and Jennifer to what we've been saying about them. And the only person that they're attacking in this moment is Evelyn. They're not coming for us because we have the receipts that would embarrass the hell out of both of them. So they're not going to come face to face with us.
It's not even factual. You're just pulling stuff out of the air, hoping, and you want to do spiked tea, and it's going to target Simone and Evelyn. They have nothing to do with this. They didn't lose any money, but you're just trying to find some way to attack people that have a bigger platform so that you can continue with your at this point.
So you can be relevant. That's all they're doing. They want to be they want to be seen. They're clout chasing, and they just want to be seen. Just
Yeah.
like that fruity boy standing behind Puff the Magic Dragon looking ass Jennifer in that video. Shit. I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cussing, but yeah. Don't sit up and lie and say you don't know me. When I gave you 30,000. At one point, I gave this bastard $4,000 at one time. So, and now I can't even afford to even get in on the lawsuit. So what I've tried to do is I've tried setting up a GoFundMe, and I've tried setting up, a shoe brand, so that I can, at least try to pay money towards the lawsuit, because I truly feel like, I should be a part of this lawsuit. Most definitely.
Hit that subscribe, guys. And I see here, Dr. Carissa Annette has said, thank you so much, doctor, that it says you should all make a complaint with the OIG so they stopped him or any of his businesses from becoming licensed until this investigation is done. I like that because he has created the new entity. They created the new LLC, I guess, to handle their YouTube monies or what have you. But Alteria, could you speak to the fact that it was very difficult to get this going because Alteria really got the runaround? You went to the SEC, you went to talk about the different entities that you went to get help. And then in the chat, if you work or are familiar with any of the entities, let the victims know in the chat any other entities that you would recommend they file complaints with, because the problem is the runaround. Tell us about that.
It is. So when I first actually came on and spoke with Simone, mind you guys, this was July of last year. So this was a whole year ago. I had already filed with the SEC. I had filed with FINRA. I had filed with the FTC, the Better Business Bureau, the Georgia State Secretary, the Office Attorney General. And I had emails from every one of them swarming back to me. Thank you so much for your complaint. However, Christian is not licensed. So because he's not licensed, there's nothing we can do to help you. We're going to forward this to the FBI. Every single email I got, no matter what entity it was, they said, we're forwarding this to the FBI. Again, I had did this before I even spoke with Simone. So when we went on the interview with Simone suggested the same thing. Go do all of these things. And sure enough, I did it again. And I'm telling you guys, it was God, because 2-3 days later, my phone rang and it was an anonymous call. I don't answer anonymous calls.
Oh, wow.
I almost did not answer it. And something in my gut said, pick up the phone. And the guy said, this is the FBI in the Atlanta division. Boom. He gave me his cell phone number. I'm in contact with them.
Got him, coach.
So, they came forward. But yes, I have jumped through every hoop there is possibly known to man to make sure that Christian is not allowed to tell people that he's trading and get people to do this, because it is, like Simone said, it's not the fact that he's a felon. It's the fact that he's not licensed and he's taking people's hard-earned money and saying he's investing it. Now, one thing that I've also said is he has no business taking our hard-earned money for himself, period. Wow. We worked hard for that. That's our money. If we gave it to him on a Friday and we wanted it next Monday, we should be able to get it next Monday. He shouldn't be able to tell us, no, I'm not giving you nothing.
That's how you know he never invested your money. I can go to my E-Trade right now and I put in a request. It's a business day. It might be a business day till I get the money or whatever. But that's how you know this was a fucking lie from the beginning. From the beginning. And someone has asked how much money in total. The answer is this. I saw that in one of the chats alone, there was 227 people there. And each of those people I think at that point it was 2,500 was the investment fee. But let's say 1,500, just as an example. 1,500 times 227. All right, so that's 340,000 right there. That doesn't even include the amount of money the people then gave him to air quote invest that was never invested. It's probably close to $1 million at least. At least. There are some people who gave him $100,000 that are not even part of the 2 lawsuits. So the 2 lawsuits that I covered today, the civil ones, they're both making the same allegation. So if you too are one of and are an alleged victim of him, it's not too late. You can still join. You need to contact their law firm. But those 2 cases combined are about $230,000.
Can I say something, Simone?
Please.
If anyone wants to help Mimi or any of the other victims by donating to the law firm directly to help them become a part of the lawsuit,
That's an excellent
feel free
idea.
to do that. I know that, you know, most people will look at my little $1,500 as not a big deal. It's the principle,
Yeah.
and it's the lying, you know, that irritates me. You know, you say, "Oh, I gave her a $1,500 break because she was struggling." I'm not struggling. I haven't struggled since I was his age. I'm 54 years old and I live very well.
And you look good.
So that's not the case. But if anybody wants to help Mimi, and I think it's another young lady, Alteria, that wants to join, that lady gave $100,000, that want to help them with them being a part of it, not paying the whole fee, just whatever the fee is for them to join. Please reach out to the law firm. You'll be able to get that from Simone's website.
Yeah.
Alteria. That would
I'll
be.
put it down in the description. I'll tell you, send it to me afterwards and I'll add it to the description.
Absolutely. I sure will.
Or,
You know-
or
Oh, go
let me just add, or if you want to support my business that I just launched, I can give it to Simone Pelaka Patel. And I have 2 songs, thanks to Simone, thank you, girl, 2 diss songs that are streaming right now, Jailbirds and Food Stamps. Please, y'all
Yes.
go listen to that. And then the second one is Gold Digger Blues. Help a sister out, baby. I'm trying, y'all, but
Love
just help me out.
And
Just
Nene,
help me out. Go stream that.
if you make a comment and you put that in, I'll pin it. I'll pin that comment.
Okay.
You know, I love you guys in the jury. I call you guys in the chat. I'll call y'all my jurors, my viewers. Y'all hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get up to 55,000 subscribers. Aisha A made a great comment. She says, there's no way people gave that much money over Zelle. Is that possible? So here's the thing. This is why his accounts were likely getting shut down. You're right. It wasn't solely Zelle. That's likely why he started having people send him money via Bitcoin. Listen, if this was legitimate, he would have been able to create a Chase bank account like the rest of business people in America, or a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America business account, and accept funds like any other sane individual. So that is a great point, Aisha. So what was happening is then he would shut down one account and he'd reopen it. So now he's using him and Jennifer's joint account, one of their joint accounts, to now accept funds. So now Jennifer cannot claim innocence. She's up in it. You let this man use your account to accept illegal advanced fees, which we've already covered, then you went on this thing too. Yeah. All right. On that, we're going to get ready to wrap. I'll let you guys give final comments. I think Natalia is still with
Natalia's
the baby.
ready.
You're ready.
She's ready. Yep.
Okay, great. So Natalia, I'm going to let you kind of have the final word. So Natalia is the mother of his children. Natalia, at the beginning, I don't know if you got to see it, but basically what I established is that the child support scenario is largely because the state of Georgia took this on because your children are receiving government services because Christian has not done his part. That the 2 of you guys last summer came to an agreement that there was a set amount he'd pay monthly. He did that for 2 or 3 months. Then he said, I ain't got it. And since then hasn't done a thing. If I have made any misstatements, please clarify and feel free to elaborate.
Everything sounds great to me. You hit on everything. Just a disclaimer, guys, my kids are asleep, so I'm not gonna I can be passionate, as you all saw in the videos, but I'm going to try to not be so loud. But yes, so there's a couple things I wanted to come on here and address, and I'm glad that you summarized what you spoke about already. Thank you so much, Simone.
Yeah.
First, it is nice to see you again, because apparently everyone doesn't know that we've been here before, and they can go back and watch the first episode in September that we
Mhm.
did of last year.
I'll
That
do
was
a
the very first
playlist,
time
y'all,
that
so
I
you can
spoke
see it.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that was the very first time that I spoke out about the situation. Since then, of course, there's been a lot of things that have occurred. To be honest, even then, there wasn't support, and a lot of people are talking about the whole cease and desist. And well, why would she do that? So let me clarify that whole situation as well. Um, back in back in June of 2024 was the last time that Christian had sent any payment for child support. Through that time, I was trying to work things out with him to see, okay, like you mentioned, the agreement. Can you pay a portion? Can you pay something? Let me be very clear. During that time, and I posted a text message about it so you guys could see the proof. I posted it on TikTok, I believe. I think it was on TikTok or my page. But I had posted and I shared the conversation because a lot of people were, confused based off of what he was saying, what exactly happened. So what was going on during that time was we had discussed an agreement that he was going to pay me monthly towards the bills that I was paying monthly for the kids, for rent, for Pampers, everything. Because as you guys knew, my kids were still in Pampers. Like, they're literally potty training and going through that process right now. So food, everything. He was supposed to be contributing every single month. He started to make a few payments. And let me be very clear how this correlates with the criminal case, as we have the victims here. What Christian does, he will start doing something to make it look like he's doing the right thing so he can use that little bit of quote unquote a good deed, which is not really a good deed because it's manipulation, to make it look as if he is going, doing the right thing. And he can pull that quote unquote receipt later to say, oh, I did do this. But the fact of the matter is, his first child was born in 2021. Okay. I first filed for child support in 2022 of April, but it was in a different county. So what happened was it had to be transferred over to the county in which he was living and where we were. Now, keep in mind, their house was 15 minutes away from where we lived, and I can count on my fingers and tell you guys, which I'm going to present that evidence in court, how many times he actually saw his kids. Okay, this is text message records. So with that being said, there's a lot of conversation, and he's saying, well, I tried my best, but in between, I'm seeing this, all these posts about trips and eating, at fancy restaurants. Now, a lot of these things I'm looking at and I'm saying, okay, how is it that he's affording this, but he's telling me that he's going to be late on the payment? He can't afford the payment. Never mind the date that we agreed to that he was going to pay me out for those few months. It was 4 months in which he paid. They were always late. They were always late. They were never on time. And he always had some excuse as to why he couldn't pay it on time. So when a mother, if there are any mothers that are listening, if I could get some fire signs or something in the chat, okay? When you are fed up and tired, you are fed up and tired. When you're tired of playing the games, when you get to a point where you have the strength, because anybody who's gone through narcissistic abuse understands that it is a process to heal. It is a process to get to a point where you say, you know what, I'm fed up and I'm going to fight back. September of last year was that time that I had that conversation with Simone, and I was like, okay, I'm fed up. So then I got a message from him stating that I was gonna, pretty much it was a threat. He was saying if I was in communication with Simone, he had just sent her something, a cease and desist, and I was gonna be liable as well, right? So he was trying to instill fear in me. I did not respond, and I had not heard from him until November. When he reached out to me in November, he was trying to start that whole spiderweb game again. Never mind, during that time, I heard
What's the
nothing.
spiderweb game?
The spiderweb game is the manipulation, saying, okay, I'm going to help you. That's just thank you for asking.
It's probably because he was recording and he probably wanted to have them kids on the show to make it look like he's daddy daycare.
Bless you, baby.
That's what it was. He wanted to get them babies so him and Jennifer could play house and act and make it look like they had some sense.
That would surprise me. And okay. And so with that whole process, you know, trying, and when I say the spiderweb game, just to elaborate a little more, I mean, you know, telling me, hey, okay, I'm gonna do the right thing now. I'm trying to do the right thing, but then going back to not showing up and keeping his word. That's the whole problem with both cases, with the child support case and the criminal case, is the fact that he never keeps his word. He says he's going to pay people back. He says he's going to take care of his kids. He says he's going to support, and he does not do it, and he does not do it consistently as he promises. So that's where I got fed up, and I'm going to just ask anybody, you know, if you can relate. I know this is not a situation that everybody goes through where they have someone, quote unquote, that is on TV that is flashy and showing off, saying that they have this and that. But if you had a person that was your children's father and he's online saying he has this and that, and then coming to you saying he doesn't have it, you're going to question, like, okay,
right,
what's going on? And then you're probably going to start questioning him and also taking action against him to say, oh, something has to change. So my daughter is getting fussy. I'm going to have to jump off because
it's okay. But no, thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me, and we'll hopefully be able to finish another time. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. No problem at all. No problem. And let me say this as well. Y'all, I think it was, I'm sorry, Everett, if you're still there, you are welcome to hop in the chat. If you wanted to say something, okay, I don't know if you're still there. I was going to say, and you can feel free to jump in. Y'all, it was not until today, y'all, that I just realized, Nene, when you talked about the fact that you had been asking for your money and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I lost it last summer. I think I may have mentioned June or August, whatever. My mind is blown because I am just now processing and putting together that this man did not tell y'all the economy crashed or the investment crashed until after I outed this story.
Yeah, it was the day that the stock market dropped. I think it was 3%. I think it was August 8th or 10th or 5th or something like that. But again,
but you don't lose this kind of investment. See, it drops, but then it goes back to normal. So if anything, you say
exactly, because everybody that I know that was a trader, everybody I know that traded said that they made all the money they lost that day. They made it all back within a week after that because the market went back up.
Because the way it works is you don't then get negative. You have to owe anybody. Your money just sits there and you wait for it to come back up. But it just seems very convenient that he then used that. He was always, I'm doing great, send more money. And then after this story starts leaking, after people start, collectively asking their money back, because here's what really happened. I just did the story about his restitution being a lie, those components. And then I looked at his website. One victim initially saw my story about how, hey, this is fraudulent. And she was like, I was thinking something was wrong, but he hasn't paid me my money. So then I let her come on. Then that's how many other people realized they were in the same predicament. So then he started sending me cease and desist because the issue was he wanted each of y'all to think you were the only one.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted each of you to think, oh, it's just your money. Once you guys came to realize, no, nobody's getting paid, then panic set in and people came to him, started asking for his money. So that's when he conveniently said, oh, the economy, the market crashed and I don't have anybody's money. No, because if it crashed, that means the money is still in the account. And so it should have gone back up. So
No,
go ahead.
Address the elephant on their channel. He said that account lost 70%. He said that. So he constantly incriminates himself. So what happened to the 30%? You do not.
Great point.
You never hear him talk about successful people that he is currently trading for or people that were successful during this time. He never does that. They waste so much time speaking on Evelyn, and she's at Home Goods or at a baseball game.
Well, and also here's something that I want to piggyback off of what Kiki says. They're on the show and they're like, oh, the Black community, it's always the Black community. None of my white investors complain.
I want to say
Simone, what, isn't Louis white?
What?
I said, isn't Louis white?
He is. He stole from white people too. Yeah, allegedly.
When I spoke to Louis, he told me he never got his money. So,
yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, this isn't a color thing.
Yeah. But he
it's not. It's not.
He loves to do that, and he loves to just attack people's, like Simone said, attack people's character. No, when you guys are listening to him, please pay attention. If he's talking, he's lying. Period. Yeah. No one's going to come out and say all of this for attention. Who wants to be on national TV talking about, I didn't do my due diligence and I gave you $1,500? Who wants to do that? But the point is, you're constantly doing this to other people. So stop with the lies. Jennifer, you're no longer innocent. We were trying to make you naive and you didn't know any better. You showed on the first episode of Basketball Wives, you didn't care. So now we don't care.
There you go. All right. And I just want to answer a few final questions that I thought were strong. Sarah Anderson asked, can you ladies file a class action based on the fact that he intentionally misled and maliciously defrauded them? That's basically what they've already done. So that's why they filed the lawsuit. So class action is a little different. I think it would be more of a multi-district litigation, but it's a joint lawsuit. And so they have done that. Queen Coco, hold on, let me do this one. Queen Coco asked, can Natalia file a civil lawsuit for her pain and suffering? And the answer is no, you can't, because it comes from a relationship. Under the law, there's something called a slippery slope. And what that pertains to is the fact that, like, if you allow people to file lawsuits against their girlfriends or boyfriends for pain and suffering for a relationship that didn't last, our courts would be clogged up with those kinds of things. So she could certainly sue him for the back child support and other things like that, but not pain and suffering. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm your legal bestie, Attorney Simone. I appreciate you guys. Plus, you guys, I will be doing the Diddy recaps. I've been doing those daily. This Tuesday, I'm actually going to go to the trial. So I won't be doing Tuesday during the day. I'll be in the afternoon. But please hit that like and subscribe, share, and drop your questions in the chat below. Thank you, ladies, again, and Thomas for joining me. Bye, y'all.